Welcome to the Shellanomics podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Midas.
Greetings all, this will be the final episode of Shellanomics podcast in 2025. This was year number 2. We're just going to talk and reflect about the brand as a whole, how far we've evolved, and a special thanks to you guys at the end of this podcast here. So, we've had a lot of episodes this year on this channel. We started with celebrating Shell-A-Thon number 2 on Twitch. Now, for those who don't know what Shell-A-Thon is, it is a huge marathon of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gaming. Last year, we did Shell-A-Thon 1 to celebrate 40 years of Turtles. People talked a lot about it, and they wanted to do another one. So, we almost had a full 24 hours for day 1. And we started off 2025 doing 48 hours. We had actually over 48 hours because we didn't overexert ourselves. We just had more people who wanted in, and it was a great time. People made some new friends. We'll get more into that as we break down the year with some more Shell-A-Thons. We also had a good friend of ours stop by the name of TMNT Talk. We met him, I believe it was through Instagram. Reached out to him, wanted to have him on the show. He is one of the longest running podcasts of Ninja Turtles that I know of. Great dude. He does his podcast in 2 languages. And a big shout out to him because without Christian, he helped me up my game. If you guys check out our reviews, this friend of mine, we have done the whole entire cartoon series from the 87 show. We have done the 2003 show. We have done the 2012 show. We have done the original comics, the Next Mutation. The list goes on and on and on. And for 2026, I keep telling him, you just say stop and I'll stop. But he loves Turtles as much as I do. I believe we're going to get into more of the crossovers next year. Probably going to start off January 2026 covering Mutant Mayhem. And I'm going to be honest here, guys. I just watched the movie again for a second time. I still don't like it. And it's okay not to like something. This is not a podcast where we just praise everything. We voice our opinions. It's okay to have debates. There's no personal attacks on anybody here. Just when we break that down, you'll hear why I really don't like that version of Ninja Turtles. But that's going to be for next year. Right now, we're just focusing on 2025. We have had a whole bunch of episodes here. We were blessed with having Justin Cooper and Eric Will stop on by. Eric Will is going to retire, it looks like, from podcasting for Epic Tales from the Sewers in 2026. Both those guys came on my show a couple times. Justin invited me to be on his show, which was a great honor. Talk about the first movie celebrating 35 years. So thanks to those guys. We had a lot of cool podcasts. We expanded our comfort zone a lot this year. We had somebody who had a Ninja Turtle race car back on in February with Brian. We had a huge Turtle fan of Eric who created Warrior Pins, Ninja Turtle custom pins. We had the video game developer for TMNT Tactical Takedown, Xavier Nelson Jr. stopped on by. We broke down every single Ninja Turtles Playmates toy from the original toy line that I grew up with, thanks to Josh. We covered figures, we shared loose, bare bones, loose complete. We had a lot of great feedback from that on our YouTube channel with the videos as Josh would explain the variants. So big ups to Josh for helping us complete that run. We had a couple other friends come on. We had Mr. Sculpt figures pop on with his artwork. We had other fans talk about rare toys that they had, a custom Shredder Jack in the Box. We had Bobby's World from Bobby's World Toys stop by and share some great advice about collecting in 2025 in the modern era. He actually said on a show we had him on, he said he recommends not getting into the toy business just because of how much money it costs for extra money with shipping from eBay, as well as sales tax on eBay. You know, when we first started, we didn't have that way back when in the early 2000s with eBay. So now it's a different ball game. So I appreciate that. And when we do these podcasts, you know, we try to end with a lot of inspirational or uplifting advice, whether it's a quote from Master Splinter in the Turtles show, or just some, you know, wholesome advice from some of the podcast people we've had. Another great guest we had was Ken Scott, the real Raphael in the first Turtle movie. Love to have him back next year. He had some great quotes. Be sure to check that episode out. I wanted to know a little bit more about the fellow Chucker, and I also want to know about that stunt in the taxi cab. And he was very, very kind, very warm. Actually got to meet him in person at a Comic-Con in the summer of 2025. So I hope you guys check out Ken Scott's Instagram and also buy his book. It's a great book for any Ninja Turtle fan. Even if you're not, if you're just a fan of the new stuff, just to hear what goes on in that Jim Henson movie, it's a real treat and a phenomenal gift to all of his fans. As he says, that was the intent of that book, just to get some extra behind the scenes. Just looking back, sometimes I even did 3 podcasts in one day. I didn't release them all in one day, but I just love the energy. We'd have like TMNT talk, and then we were even blessed for people to reach out to us. We had Howard Quigley on our show to talk about the original toys. He was an artist for the basketball Donatello way back when, among others. And they actually reached out to me to have him on the show. So that was a blessing to have him on. I wanted to make sure I treated him with respect. He enjoyed it. And we're still good friends on Instagram. Would love to have him back on also. And best of luck with his new vision with his biblical toys that he's trying to get out there. We also had some toy photography with TMNT 1987. That was an awesome show as well. If you guys haven't checked that one out, he talks about getting your reps in. And because a lot of people, I see a lot of photographs of toys on Instagram, Facebook, and he does them almost like it's almost like a stop motion movie. He gets really detailed, make sure he gets great shots. That was another one of my favorites. A couple others as we just continue to look down this list. We have a lot. We had some playthroughs with some good friends of ours here. Sewer Bushido came on. We actually had Drifting Adams, another great Twitch streamer, come on and talk to us about how to beat Turtles 1 for Nintendo. He gave us some great advice. For those who speedrun or don't speedrun, there's a lot of tips there. I hope you guys enjoy that podcast. If you want, you can check out the YouTube video with the playthrough as we went side by side. We had a couple other fans share their collections. Once again, that's always my favorite, is just hearing fan stories, because all of us, from the most part, what I've seen, a lot of us are just givers. And another giver was Rich, who talked, he came on by, talked about he has the largest Ninja Turtle comic book collection out there, and he helped recreate the first issue. It was another phenomenal episode. He actually gifted me one of those that he created, so I was very thankful to have him on the show. My gosh, there are just so many episodes that we brought up. Tons and tons of comics, even the comic crossovers, more on the figures. We even put together what I wanted to do was we called it the Legends of TMNT Podcasting. We had Turtle Tracks, Cowabunga Corner, TMNT Talk, and Epic Tales from the Sewers, all in one show. I really encourage you guys to check out those shows. All of us, I would say, in that genre, and I probably would say most Turtle podcasters, at least from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but just from my own views, I never saw people compete. We all create. There is just so much Ninja Turtle content out there that I don't really see us going against each other or taking shots. We all try to help each other, our channels grow. We all put a little flavor on here, a little different. A lot of podcasts just like doing one episode at a time, or a breakdown, or a mini-series. You've seen it all the episodes I do with TMNT Talk. We just go through the whole run. We'll break down a season or maybe 20 to 30 comic books, and I gotta tell you, just once again, he is just such a great podcaster. We have amazing chemistry where I try to keep my shows anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes because, yeah, we could probably go 3 hours, but is someone really going to want to listen for 3 hours? Maybe you do. If you do, comment down below. Maybe I'll make some longer videos. Just for me personally, the podcasts I listen to that I like are usually an hour to an hour and a half, and that's if the flow's really good. What else did I want to mention here in this as we break down? We had TMNT Van on here. Another awesome person that contributes to the Turtleverse. Talked about his Turtle Van going around town, how he works very close with Vanilla Ice. That was one of my favorites, and we just got to the summer of 2025. We still have a lot more to break down here in this one. We had Andre Felipe in here, a video gaming artist who helped contribute to Splintered Fate, one of the greatest Ninja Turtle games out there. The only one, as of this recording, that is multi-crossplay on all platforms. Shredder's Revenge, you need a certain console. You can only play with fellow Switch players if you have it on the Switch. If you have it on Steam, you can play with Steam and Xbox. But for Splintered Fate, you can play anywhere. We also had the Bubblegum Girl from the first movie to talk on here for a while. That was a lot of fun. That one really stood out. We had some other friends break down, include our audio guy, B-Mills, pop on to talk about his top 5 Raphaels. We had Ninja Turtles, one of the biggest, I would say, Instagram pop culture turtle people we have out there. He's trying to get to I'm going to pull it up as we have this because I've been really wanting him to get this. He is getting closer and closer each day to 100,000 followers on Instagram. What a hell of a feat that will be for our friend. We talked about our favorite Mikeys. He is at 99.8. So he is, I would say by next year, he should hit that one. So very happy and very proud of our friend. We broke down a lot more. And again, this is where we started debating more, like our honest review of Rise of the TMNT. That's a show I didn't like, still really don't. And I gave praise where I could. I enjoyed the movie. It just didn't really resonate with me. And again, by doing this podcast, it helps me get my own Shellanomics because I read the entire Archie series with our friend TMNT Talk. Now, I grew up in Turtle Mania, and I actually never got to read most of the Archie comics when they were around. I just didn't get into them, and probably didn't want to spend the money, too. I mean, they were only $2, but they did add up fast. So we got to finish that entire run. Even got to find a fan-made release to get I guess if you want to say in quotes, the true ending for the Archie run. So that one was a lot of fun. We'll break down some more here. We had a great cosplayer in Thaddeus Manning stop on by, and now me and him are good friends. I thought that was a great talk, just hearing on how he gives to the fans that stop at Comic-Cons. He's very passionate about what he does, and he considers himself a professional about it. And I would agree, because he's very professional about what he does, what he gives to the people just walking around. He shared a lot of advice for people who get anxiety during that, how to be, respectful, some cosplay and etiquette, and just going to con some etiquette. We had our friend Jeff Yell, which I thought was another one I enjoyed, because Jeff Yell I've known since the Technodrome days. He's another big fan. We talked about fanfics in that one for a while. So we have learned a lot this year. And we also had 2 other Shell-A-Thons. I'm going to talk a little bit about those. Just for my own, growth. We have grown over 5,000 YouTube subscribers, which I never thought I'd ever see. All I do is just pretty much talk turtles, and I'll play some games on Twitch on my Shellanomics channel. We used to have the name King Mike this, but we did change it to Shellanomics. We have a lot of games we've taken down, but Shell-A-Thon's not about me or the turtles. It's just about bringing a lot of my friends together for a weekend to hang out and let them network and hopefully make some new friends. So Shell-A-Thon 3, that was crazy. I don't think we'll ever do that again. That's probably going to go down as an urban legend 20, 30 years from now. Guys, we ran a full week of nothing but Ninja Turtle content on Twitch. A full week. A couple of them are replays just because it was hard to fill those graveyard shifts from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. But we did it. Some people went twice. It was nice because a lot of my friends do enjoy longer streams. So I didn't have to be there for all of them. Some guys would go 5, 6 hours, which put my mind at ease. And everybody in there is filled with integrity. I knew I could rely on them if I wasn't around to get the job done, to make sure they rated around their time frame to finish. The reason we went a week long is because if you guys check out my book Shell-A-Thon, which is on Amazon right now, I'd like to promote it elsewhere. For right now, though, it is on Amazon. It's a little book that just talks about my brand, how I started streaming. And we do talk about the Shell-A-Thons mostly on there. And the reason that one went a week long was because I ended up getting a little depressed. I live in Illinois, and a friend of mine, we were trying to put together a real-life Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles con only, just a small one. I did my homework. I talk about this more in the book. I thought I did everything right. We had stuff that I wanted, that I enjoy from a con. We had complimentary keychains. And I found from an artist out in a different country that was great. Had a good friend take care of us with a print. Found some sponsors that didn't give us money towards the con, but gave us incentives for buying their products. We had some badges I had. We had the prints we had those complimentary after I talked to the owner of not the owner, somebody from their website, which was a blessing. We did polls that people would want to come to this show. And we had well over 100 people that said they were interested. Now, just because somebody says yes does not mean that they're going to be fully engaged when push comes to shove with money. Stuff could happen. I know there was some pushback because I said no kids. And it was just for me because I wanted it to just be in 2 small hotel rooms. So after driving to hotel after hotel and looking up video after video on how to run this little event, and how to make sure everything was safe, similar to how I do the Shell-A-Thons on Twitch, because I try to make sure, I can't be everywhere, but I do my best to make sure that every community is safe. And what do I mean by safe in my version? Safe means being able to be yourself with common sense. I mean, you don't go in there, saying something rude to the live streamer. You don't go in there promoting yourself, thinking you're God's gift to streaming. You don't troll the streamer. Sarcasm's fine. We do our little inside jokes. I grew up in that era. I have no problem with that. But just you're able to just even lurk and just say hi without being forced or pressured to do anything. I never liked having my someone come up to me and get all in my face to force me to do something. I've quit jobs because of that. Sink or swim mentality. I don't get in the water. There's no reason. I don't like being forced to do anything. So when it comes to this, we were going to call it the Shellanomics Summit, in case this is your first time here. And we had I thought everything planned out. I had the hotel. I had a couple friends buy tickets first. We did everything right. I called my accountant how to get financially prepared for that and how to make sure that was taken care of. We had a fundraiser night on Twitch, which helped out a lot to get money for cost of the hotel, cost of custom tote bags, along with other things I had in mind. And as the weeks went on, unfortunately, tickets weren't selling. Now, I didn't want to have vendors either. There's a lot of more details on that. I wanted to have a nice, simple, and I called it the Summit because Summits are more high-end hangouts. So the ticket was, I wanted to have it at $50. When you came to the event, we had 2 rooms planned out. We had one room that was going to be all Ninja Turtle video games. Kind of similar if you go to like a beercade. We were going to have Turtles in Time on one television with a speedrun contest, and the winner was going to get a Turtles in Time NECA 2-pack of Bebop and Rocksteady. We were going to have one TV dedicated to Shredder's Revenge and Splintered Fate, like the newer games. We were going to have our one friend was going to bring his 1-Up arcade, so you could play the arcade with friends there. We had another TV with just more of the retro games. So we had that all figured out. We had prizes we were going to do. We had a couple panels. Michelle Ivy was interested, and she was going to come. And the other room was going to be more like a quieter room, kind of like some Q&A panels. Josh was going to come by, the gentleman who took care of our toys podcast for the entire run of that line. We were going to have board games, my own personal collection of the comic books, which wasn't big, but I had the visual history book, just kind of like how, you go to cons, you can read manga and play board games. We were going to have tons of board games in that room. We had it all planned out just for one day. We were going to do 2, but we figured one would have been smarter. But just as the weeks went on, for some reason, the tickets weren't selling. Now, it's not that I'm not a good salesman. I believe in the show, but I wanted to have those tickets hopefully sold before the event started. And in the contract I had, there was going to be an automatic charge. So it's not that I didn't want to fulfill it, but for me personally, we had only a couple weeks left. I didn't want to just have myself, the other friend who was helping me build this project, the 4 tickets I sold, and Michelle Ivy to spend X amount of money for 2 hotel rooms. That would have been a huge loss, and I think it would have been a far worse experience. So thankfully, the hotel manager who I talked to, I said, look, it's just not Vince. It just ain't going to happen, buddy. I'm sorry. Are we able to get out of here without getting charged? I said, hey, Mike. You're a very kind dude. I appreciate how you've communicated with me from the start with your no-nonsense. I'm not going to charge you. Just come back. I'll send you a confirmation that it's been canceled. So that hurt me because it was a mentally anguishing event. For those who know, and if you watch Comic-Con, how to plan Comic-Cons, the first thing they say, and they repeat it, is don't plan one. And I can see why. We spent a lot of hours studying, and I thought I did everything right. It just wasn't meant to be. And I'm still thankful for that I went through that because I learned a lot. And it wasn't a bad experience. It sucked, but I didn't lose any money. As I say in the Shell-A-Thon book, the only thing that was embarrassing to me was being a man of integrity, was just writing to people who believed in that show from the Twitch fundraiser saying, hey guys, it just, that those funds you gave me, the thing's not gonna happen. I do need a new PC for my streaming and podcasting. I'd like to use it towards that, but if you want the money, hey, this is yours, and there's no, animosity or anything if you want it back. Because, when I borrow or give somebody something and it's not going to what it is, I kind of feel almost like misled, and I didn't want people to feel misled. So that was probably the most challenging part of the Shellanomics Summit that was not coming to pass. All the extra keychains, I didn't want to look at anything that said Shellanomics Summit anywhere. So, but we did go a full week. For Shell-A-Thon 3, that kind of helped get that jet started. And that kind of helped put my mind away from the whole summit experience. So that was a great one. That's mentioned in the book too, just I put it in all caps, we went a full week. I still can't believe we did that when you look back. So we go there, winter's coming along, and I had an itch to actually write my own book because as I stream on Twitch and do this podcast, right now on Spotify, we're close to 100 followers. Twitch, I'm close to maybe 2,000 followers, and I used to stream those podcasts live on Twitch. I stopped doing that just for respect of my guests and in case there's any audio or video issues, we're able to take care of that. Because most of my podcasts, as you guys know, I keep the ums and ahs in there. It's very rare I edit something unless it's something that's very disastrous. Real quick note, too, we did have a cool other guest come on. I talked TMNT tarot cards, which I thought was pretty wild. I enjoyed that one as well. So let's get back to the book real quick. So I started writing it. And it was just pretty much going to be my 4-year streaming journey. Why I streamed, it was pretty much because my dog at the time needed a couple $1,000s after an operation. I don't want to poo-poo the company too bad, but we kind of felt a little cheated on that because they gave us an estimate and then it went skyrocketing before because they said, there was a lot more tumors inside. And it's like, you're not supposed to do that. But I was like, look, I'm mentally exhausted. My dog's sick. Please let me get her. And I just got really pissed off. I didn't even mention this in the book, but she was so out of it with the cone. They didn't even put there was something that really offended me, how they didn't even put a coat or something on there. Like, I really didn't feel like how we were treated right. I think it was a shirt. I think it was just, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. But I needed to focus on getting the money to pay for this because I didn't want to fight it. It's just not me. It's not that I'm not a fighter, but my folks were saying, my mom and others were saying, "Oh, you can do this." Like, let's just get on with this and move on. I don't want to have a heavy heart on this. This is my dog. I love her. My family dog. My brother actually was the one who brought her into the fam, but I was the one who usually took care of her when she needed walks. And she actually got bit by a squirrel once. We had to go get a little nose surgery snip. And one time there was a dog that actually came by our fence and actually bit her. And my brother at the time, this is also not in the book, he couldn't go. He was going to lose his job because at the time he was in a union, and I think he was out of days. So I had to take off my job, drive her to the vet. Miraculously, it was just like I think they stapled it or stitched it, and then it was fine in a couple days. But I was always, I guess, like the nurse in the family when it came to her. So I wanted to make sure it was taken care of, and I was like, I got to find extra money to get this fund going, man. I had money, but not the X amount. And we didn't have pet insurance. So, long story short there, we were blessed to get money from friends, and one of our relatives helped contribute with that. But that's how I started streaming. And I wanted to, do something cool. I was never in it to make, yes, I did want to make money to pay for Alba's surgery. But, a friend of mine, when we first started this, he was saying something that was great advice. When we only had maybe 1 or 2 people in streams, he was like, if you made somebody's day, that is a day well lived. And I'm like, it's phenomenal. So we kept trying these, little things, and you'll see in the book, I tried King Mike This Con, a couple other things like with wrestling, simulated games, and the Shell-A-Thon stuck. That was just a way to give back to 40 years of Turtles. I wanted to do something special. I thought it was just going to be one thing, one and done, and the summer of 2024, we started our podcast, Shellanomics, and I wanted to do something else with some shells, so to speak, with turtles, and people liked it. Like I said, we did the second one. The third one was a week, and I started writing, and the damn Google Doc got deleted. I checked. Yes, it was a Gmail account because I was saving it as I don't think I saved it as I did save it as a Google Doc, but when I send my podcast over to my friend B-Mills to just get the audio, sometimes it'll say error, you need to clean up space. So I botched that and deleted it. Now, it wasn't a lot, but it was the first 2 chapters, and I said, well, I guess this is a sign not to do this. But then November came around, and I just had the itch, and something was on the inside was telling me, I got to write this book. I just got to get it out there. So we worked and worked and worked, and, it was just when I would get overwhelmed or when I would lose focus, I would probably work on it maybe about an hour a day. And it would be like, this is starting to get sloppy. Let's come back. Because I had a good friend who used to edit my blogs when I first started this journey, too. I had a King Mike This blog, and it was how I lived royally internally. Just, some feedback on books. And I just wanted to share my take and try to help others out. I'm no professional, but just sharing what worked for me may work for somebody else if they put their own spin on it. So as this book got more and more, getting closer and closer, I'm like, I could keep writing about this, but I wanted it out before Shell-A-Thon 4, which we just did. We just wrapped up Shell-A-Thon 4. We'll talk a little bit about that in this episode as well. There was more I could have added. Maybe one day we'll do an expanded edition. But at the end of the day, after I kept editing, I'm like, I just got to get this out there. I don't want it to be slop. I made sure the grammar errors were, pretty much taken care of. The misspellings. I had my father read it, and I was very blessed that a streamer named Simon Ashchew, who's been a part of the last 3 Shell-A-Thons now, helped us out immensely. He made sure that even the space bars, sometimes you accidentally hit space bar twice. He helped me take care of that. He took care of some paragraph indentations. So I would say the book is not flawless to any degree, because it's just me. I'm the one who, I guess maybe the term self-published. I may be wrong with that. But I threw it up on Amazon. And my cousin helped make me a book cover. And then I had another friend say, Mike, it's Shell-A-Thon. Where's the shell? I'm like, well, this is the best I can do. I say, I'm no artist. My cousin and I spent a little time trying to get a cover. And I wanted to make sure I had some mention of video games, because that's what Shell-A-Thon is. And she's like, she helped me out immensely and made me a cover and said, Mikey, no charge. I believe in this book. It was a very great read. Could be inspirational. There's some stuff that could be worked on, depending how deep you want to go with it. But it was still a nice read, just seeing how you brought the community together with integrity. So she helped me out, because after I released the book, I had to re-release it with the updated cover, because I didn't want to just, sit and wait on this book. Again, I could keep writing. I could write about, how there was a big issue before Shell-A-Thon even started. I don't even have that included in there. Was a big problem before we started. It wasn't drama related with anybody in the community. It involved me in something that was never supposed to happen. So maybe one day I'll talk about that in the book, or give an expanded chapter. So the book's out, and I'm just very touched that a couple people did buy it. I never forced anyone to. We've got maybe close to 10 sales, and it's been out for about a week. Again, it's on Amazon. And it's just really touching that people are moved by it. Again, it's mostly friends, so I'm hoping an outsider reads it and maybe gets something out of it. Because the purpose of the book was to try to inspire somebody to just find your inner, whatever your special talents are. Because if you're able to, I don't want to be too inspirational, this is more about turtles, but if you're able to let go of what doesn't serve you, whether it's a guilty pleasure, whether it's a friend or something that's just not working out, and you let go of that and you focus more on what you're looking for, you'll find it. And that's what Shell-A-Thon is, because the group I have, all the Shell-A-Thoners don't know each other too well. I've bounced around in a lot of streams. I'm more retro gamer, but I did find some people in the horror realm. I don't stream horror games, but I just love their personality and how they took care of people. We've had them on Shell-A-Thon. One of them actually was a brand new one. My friend Lizzie. She's again another person who's not really big into Ninja Turtles, but she understands that it's about turtles for the games, because that's our focus. But it's not about turtles. It's about hanging out with new friends and having a good time. So she had a great time. We played Fortnite on her channel with custom Ninja Turtles, and thanks to her and our other friend Alpha, we actually won our last Fortnite game. And I barely play Fortnite. We got a little off track there, I know. I usually don't edit these. I'm just kind of spilling out my finale, for the monologue for the end of the year. But I'm very touched about the book, and we list all the Shell-A-Thoners in there, because without them, we've had over 40 people be a part of this event for we've done 4 of these now. What's crazy is we did 3 in 1 year. I wanted to start this number 4 in 2026. I was thinking of doing 2 a year, maybe this summer and winter. But the way my work schedule is, I wanted to make sure I got it in while I had the time off. So we have it done. There's a lot of things that went great. There were a few miscommunications during it. Nothing too dramatic, because everybody in the group's really easygoing. There's a couple things I can work on to make it a little bit better, of course, and there's always room for improvement. But I'm very thankful how it went. And the fun thing we had for the weekend was pretty much every streamer was doing a poll, does pineapple belong on pizza? And if anybody here is ever nervous of starting your own, even if you're looking to, if you're looking to start flirting with somebody, just start with that. For some reason, that always gets everybody going. And it's always just very friendly banter because it's, unfortunately, the pineapple one. I'm not a pineapple guy on pizza. You guys can check out my Instagram and YouTube. There's a clip where I tried it for the first time, and I still say it tastes like Starburst on my pizza. I just am not a fan. But that was a fun debate on a lot of channels. And for Shell-A-Thon 4, like I said, the first one was more retro game based to try and get the whole Cowabunga collection streamed. We didn't get to do that. Second Shell-A-Thon we did. We had somebody play the third Game Boy game and the DOS game, Manhattan Missions. Third one we went for a week. This one I wanted to just get more kind of old school. I wanted to pull it back and just do 3 days. So we did that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I went live on Christmas Day because I keep forgetting to schedule myself in these things. Like I say in the book, this isn't about me. I try not to go on last. I mean, maybe I will one year, but usually I don't. I like to spread the raid love to the next streamer up and just hang out and sit back and enjoy the show. But the one cool thing we did to wrap up this year was with our gaming. Now, nobody played Turtles 3 for Shell-A-Thon 4. Someone unfortunately was unable to make their time slot. That does happen when you have 30 plus people. The real life does get in the way. And again, nobody is committed to this. This isn't a business. This is just for fun. And I wanted to take a crack at Turtles 3. That was the last game on the Cowabunga collection that I have never beat fair and square. You can check on our YouTube channel on Shellanomics if you're not there yet. I have a run from the Cowabunga collection using rewind and save states just to say I could beat that game. Because the term they use is Metroidvania. I hate Metroid games. They're not my style. Maybe one day I'll play one, but they're just not for me. I get lost too easily in those. But the Cowabunga collection and a map, and we beat it that way. But I wanted to try and beat it fair and square. So what I was doing was using some guides to play, but I also could not save state or rewind. When I lost, I'd have to go back with the password. And it sucks because Mikey's my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And he's the focal point. For those who don't know what Radical Rescue is, it's a game that came out on the Game Boy near the end of Turtle Mania. All the turtles are captured. Mikey is the star because he has to rescue them. And when you rescue the turtles, each turtle has a different ability they can use to help you progress along the map. And for those who don't know, I'm going on the record. Someone can go ahead and say I'm wrong, but of all the Ninja Turtle games I've played, I've beaten over 50 different games, okay? I've played the Retro, I've played the DS, the Wii, Flash games, PS4 games, you name it, I've pretty much played it. And this is the hardest game, maybe one of the hardest ever. Because we have another Twitch streamer, Little Mixer, who gave me his respect and congratulations and said, dude, there's not many people that have beaten this game, Mike. So if you can do it, you're one of the best. So, oh boy. So we got to the boss rush, finally. We found our hearts, because those are imperative. And I'm streaming this on Saturday. I could not finish it in my time slot. So I'm like, all right, we'll do like an after party. So this week, on Monday, I'm like, all right, I want to get this done. So what we did was I struggled, and I'm picking up the patterns. And this is why I love retro games, because you usually can get those patterns down if you stay persistent, and as long as it does not mentally drain you. Because if it does, then I'd encourage you to stop. But if you can stay with it, eventually you should be able to break through, right? So we're getting there. I was like, all right, the goal is just to get the shredder. I'm struggling versus scratch. I'm finally getting Dirtbag's pattern down. I'm getting Triceratops a little better. Scale Tail I'm struggling with. Finally beat Scale Tail. Get the shredder. When you lose the shredder, you got to go all the way back down to the bottom of the barrel. You cannot use a password to say, hey, I beat Scratch, I'm going next. Now, the good thing about the game is when you beat a boss, you get full health back. Imagine if they didn't do that. You would really be screwed over. So, eventually, I was just struggling for about 3.5 hours. A little anxiety crept up because I'm like, oh my god, I have about 20 or 30 people on my Twitch stream, which is very big for someone like me. Usually I average maybe 10 to 20 as of this recording. So I was touched. A lot of people there trying to celebrate the end of Shell-A-Thon. Hopefully I can get it. I just wasn't getting it down. So I said, I'm going to study some pattern recognition. I'm going to play the Cowabunga collection at Shredder. A friend of mine gave me advice too. He's like, hey man, just save state at Shredder because you're there with the pizza. And I'm like, nah, I want to do this honorably. I want to actually say I beat this game fair and square. My name is Shellanomics, and I do a lot of Turtle stuff. I beat Turtles 1 for Nintendo in 2024. I've speedrun that game to under 25 minutes. I got to be able to beat this game. I just have to. So, you do the visualization, like manifestation. I'm trying to visualize myself beating this game. We're playing the Cowabunga collection right now, just trying to get the patterns of Shredder down. And I got them down. And I'm like, all right, I have to beat him here first. So I finally got him. I'm like, all right, I'm getting confident. We go back to the regular, the one on Game Boy. Still struggling. Finally, I break through after about 5.5 hours of the stream. I did take some breaks. I'm like, all right, I think I finally got it. We were blessed with the raid on Twitch during the battle. You can see on our YouTube shorts. And I just uploaded the boss battle because I took way too long. I didn't want to have a part 1 and part 2 video of playing the Game Boy game in full. It was streamed on Twitch. I kept the Cowabunga run on there. But anyways, we finally did it. And if almost like a football player, or a basketball player hitting that buzzer beater, or a baseball, sports, just any kind of athlete winning that clutch shot, I yelled out the biggest yeah at the end. I think it was just all the frustration and hard work to just come out. I didn't cry. I don't think I was going to do that, but it just felt so relieved that I was able to do that. And another reason why I like playing these retro games, and I'm starting to play more and more challenging games, and I'm also not safe stating anymore, is because there could be some inspiration out there. Again, I am no pro gamer. I speedrun video games. A lot of them are Ninja Turtle games just for the simple fact that I've played them my whole life. So, of course, I'm going to be good at them. I have the patterns down. Turtles in Time I can beat on a good day close to 30 minutes. Turtles 2, I just, not a world record PB by any means. The pros can knock that down in less than 30 minutes. I'm around maybe 45, 50 minutes. Hyperstone Heist, we have a good run in. Turtles 1 we talked about earlier, so we're good at these games. And to finally beat that one was just awesome. So what I wanted to do after that, because that was the after party of Shell-A-Thon 4, I did make a tutorial because I've seen a lot of, videos on YouTube, boss battles, no damage, long play. But nobody is actually taking the time to talk about how to beat the boss and the entire boss rush. So I did that. I hope that helps somebody out in there because, again, you can watch videos all day long, but if no one's talking to you how to beat those patterns, especially with Shredder's flying kicks, I don't feel you're going to get anywhere. So that's how we closed out Shell-A-Thon 4. As we slowly start bringing this in for a landing, I'm going to have to check this at the end of 2026 to just see some goals. So a couple goals with this podcast is I'd like to have more fans on the show. Those are probably my favorites. It's a blessing to talk to anybody who's in mainstream media for Turtles, whether it's a Kickstarter project, an author, an artist, an actor, a voice actor, a game developer. I just like hearing the fan stories because it's really fresh content, and you're able to see why they cling to Turtles, and a lot of us cling to Turtles for the same way. It's almost like a comfort, and it's just something you can rely on. Like they're always there for you. That's what Turtles usually means to me, anyways. They've helped me through a lot in my life. So I'd like to have more fans. TMNT Talks already said he's more than happy to be back. We're going to try and break down more of the content I have missed. We're almost done breaking down literally everything from Turtle Mania. Eventually I'd have to get back to the Lost comics that were not a part of the Black and White. I'd like to touch on those. I'd like to get into the IDW comics, some more crossovers. We already said we're going to start with Tales of the Turtles next year. And I hope this channel grows. Again, we felt called to do this last year, just something to give back to the community. There's a lot going on in the world. I don't really pay attention to most of it. I have to make sure common sense, watch the weather to make sure when you're driving and, stay in the loop in case there's trouble going on somewhere. But I just try to focus on fun. We're only here for a short time, and I want to enjoy my time here. So I do that through Turtles, and it's my way of leaving something behind. Now, we're only 41. We expect to be here a long time. But just, I'm hoping these podcasts can live on forever. Maybe one day somebody, stumbles on this years from now, wants to know something about Turtles, and they enjoy how me and TMNT Talk break down, the original cartoon, or sharing the podcast love of others, or advice on how to collect and buy the 88, 89 toys. Maybe 50 years from now, somebody checks out these podcasts and says, wow, now I know what these variants are, because nobody really talks about the variants. So that's where I'd like to be. I hope this inspires others to try their own podcasts. If you do think you know anybody who'd like to be on the show, again, I cannot promise everybody to be a part of it, but you guys can check us out at kingmiketus@gmail.com. That's the email I use for this podcast. Shellanomics@gmail.com is another one. Usually I know I'm at King Mike. But otherwise, you can check us out on Twitch. We hang out there a lot in other people's streams. We play a lot of retro games. We'd love to have you over there. 18 and up. It's an 18 and up stream. And I just encourage you guys to share this with friends too. If you know anybody who's a Turtle fan, say, hey, they made this podcast may be for them. Just something to listen to while they're driving to work. I love listening to podcasts. One of my favorites is Lewis Howe's School of Greatness. I learn a lot from that show. He has a lot of great guests on there, and he has some good monologues too. So I thank you all for checking out the final. This is it. This is the final episode of Shellanomics for 2025. Thank you again for, I want to say, believing in this show. Thank you to all who follow on Spotify. I don't know, a lot of people do follow on Spotify. So what I mean by that is some people just tune in and tune out. So thank you to going the extra mile following us here. Thank you for checking us out on our other social medias like Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, X, Twitter. We do have a Discord server as well where we talk turtles if you guys want to hang out there. And it's going to be exciting to see what the future holds for Turtles next year. You know, Playmates lost their toy line, or their license. They're done after 2026. Like I say, there's supposed to be some new video games coming out. We'll see what NECA creates with their new toys. And we were blessed to have Aaron, who worked with NECA. That's another phenomenal episode. Thank you, Aaron, for stopping on by this year to talk what it's like to be a toy artist, you know, with the artwork in regards to NECA. So that's going to do it here. This is probably one of the more I don't want to say long-winded, but longer shows I've ever done. We're getting close to 45 minutes of just me talking. So this was fun just to look back and reflect. I will leave you guys with this. This is one of my favorite quotes. Two quotes I live by, I'll give you, in case you need some inspiration, if you've made it this far. First one is, never forget who brought you to the dance. I've seen so many people in my streaming journey and podcasting that people forget to reflect and say thank you goes a long way. You know, nobody's perfect. There are times where you'll butt heads with your friends or somebody, but you got to go back and say, you know what? They did that for me out of the kindness of their heart, whether it was, you know, at the beginning of this year or 6 months ago. It's like, you know, that's something to be appreciative of. And some people forget that, you know, what people did to help get them there. I also mentioned in the book, I will always have a glass is half full, you know, mentality. And I enjoy supporting my friends. If you win, I win. That's the way I go. Because I like seeing you succeed as well. It doesn't always have to be me. I don't hang out with people who are jealous. I kind of disassociate with them. But that's just my mentality. And the final quote, well, actually, I guess I'll give you two more. We'll end on three. All good things comes in three, right? So another quote, I'm not sure where I found this one from, but it was always do not go where the path may lead. Go where there is no path and lead a trail. That's kind of what I've done with this podcast and my gaming on Twitch. Because I'm not the greatest gamer. I'm not the greatest speedrunner. I just am who I am. I find what works. And I hope to bring some smiles to some people's faces and some inspiration when we beat some tough video games. And a final one I would like to do, let's see, what can we do from Ninja Turtles? I used to always ask people their favorite Master Splinter quote when I ended these, and a lot of them were just, Cowabunga or, something from the movie. But for me, I think we're going to go with the one that I actually put in a blog I wrote years ago. And it's from I've talked about it with TMNT Talk. It's in Season 8. It's when the Turtles are down on themselves. And Splinter's like, what's happened to your spirits, pretty much. And they're like, man, we're in trouble. And then it's along the lines of where he says, winning is nothing. And Peter Renner just said it so good. It still just touches my soul when I hear it, Doing your best and fighting with honor are the only things that matter. And he goes on to say, if you guys won't fight this menace, I will. Like, hey, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. But that always resonated with me because at the end of the day, all you can do is your best, right? If you go out there and you give it an A for effort and you come up a little short, as long as you know you did your best, that's the way I live. So I appreciate you guys stopping by for this one. That's going to do it here for our final episode of Shellanomics in 2025. Big ups to B-Mills. We love you, brother. Thank you for helping make this show great. I believe I was able to thank everybody, but just you especially, because you're the one working behind the scenes. All I do is record these. I use OBS Studios. I send you the video, and then you transfer it for me. And you pretty much get me these in a couple days. Even on weekends, you're doing this for me. So I greatly appreciate that. So we'll see you guys in 2026. And thank you very much for believing in Shellanomics and taking some time out of your day to hang out with me. So long, everybody. Another episode of Shellanomics is in the books. If you guys have not yet checked out all of our other amazing episodes, we've had amazing guests. We've talked about the 1987 cartoon, 2003 cartoon, Next Mutation, coming out of their shells, video games, the comics, crossover comics like Batman and the Power Rangers, and tons of amazing content with you guys, the fans. Be sure to stop by our YouTube channel, Spotify, and Twitch. And if you have somebody who'd like to be on the show, get in touch with us at kingmikedas@gmail.com. That's KINGMIKEDAS@gmail.com.